Okay, I get asked a lot, and I mean a lot. The question, do you ever get nervous on test drives? And my answer is always the same: no, not anymore. And people are kind of like, really? I'm like, well, look, I almost died once on a test drive, so I've seen death. There's nothing you could do on a test drive. You could go down in the ditch if you want to, come back out. I'd be totally cool with it because I'm living on borrowed time anyway. Let me tell you a story about it. When you start in the car business, they have you doing list calls, is what we call them. Basically, you're calling customers whose sales rep has either left or they haven't been contacted in a while, and you're starting to try and drum up business, get your own book of business going. It's everybody does it, right? I'm making these calls, and I get a hold of, we're going to call him Bob. Anyway, Bob is going, hey, I'm like, hey, yeah, hey, this is Ted from Carl Chevrolet. Say, I see you had an Impala, and you no longer, it looks like you don't have it anymore. Would you be interested maybe coming out and checking out the new 2014 Impala? Yeah. I'm like, oh, fantastic. Well, when would you like to come out? Can't get there. Yeah, you can't get there. He's like, oh yeah, well, what do you mean? He's like, I don't have a car. So Bob doesn't have a way to get to the dealership. I continue to make a few list calls, talk to my boss that night, and he says, hey, how'd it go? Well, it's fine. I did get a hold of one guy who would be interested in Impala, but he doesn't have a vehicle. And he goes, oh, great. We can send a shuttle. We send a shuttle? Yeah, we'll send a shuttle to go get him. Okay, so I call Bob back and say, hey, Bob, how about you come out and Saturday work, we'll send a shuttle, we'll pick you up, and hey, yeah, it's great. Okay, so an appointment it is. Saturday, I'm waiting for Bob to show up, and one of my coworkers comes by and says, hey, your appointment is down in the parts department. That's where the shuttle dropped him off. I go, oh, thanks, okay. I'll go down and get him. And he goes, Andy's got his dog. He's got what? Yeah, he's got his dog. Okay, well, people bring pets around here quite often. I go down and I meet Bob. And Bob's a little old. Bob's a little old, not to be age discriminatory, but he's just a little old. He's taking steps and he's shuffling. He's just shuffling 2 inches at a time. And he's pushing a push cart. And in the push cart, it's got a little basket. And in the little basket's his little terrier, or whatever kind of dog it was. But it was a small little dog. Me, Bob, and the dog all go up to take a look at the new 2014 Chevy Impala. And this is new. I mean, it's got the plastic in it still. It's not been through the pre-delivery inspection process. I've probably got 10 reps who are standing around just looking at the vehicle. They don't really care about what I got going on. And so it's me, Bob, the dog, 10 reps, new Impala. So I go inside and I sit Bob down and I talk to Bob for a little while. And I just get the feeling that, man, I don't know if we should be selling Bob a vehicle. I just don't know if Bob's all the way there. So again, I talk to my boss. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm not sure if we should be selling Bob a vehicle. And my boss at the time, let's call him Gary. Gary says to me, hey, Ted, I understand kind of what you're saying, but let's play this out. Let's say Bob goes home and Bob decides to call in and complain that you wouldn't sell him a vehicle. What do you think's going to happen to you, Ted? I'm probably going to get fired. That's right, Ted. You're going to get fired. Does he have a valid Iowa driver's license? I didn't look. I didn't check. I've been too distracted by the dog. And so I go, and sure enough, Bob has a valid Iowa driver's license. Okay, I guess I'm in, right? So we go out, and this is where I make mistake number one. And it was a huge mistake, gigantic mistake on my part. I decided that maybe it'd be a good idea if I drove first. I get out on my normal path that I go on test drives. which is getting on Interstate 235 going north. Now, if you have not been around the Des Moines metro area, Interstate 235 is a main hub. It goes north from Des Moines to Minneapolis, and there's a lot of trucks and there's a lot of traffic. And I don't know why I thought that was a great idea, but that's the way I went. I get off about 3-4 miles down, and I'm like, well, Bob, would you like to drive? Yeah, okay, well, we're going to switch at this convenience store over here. So we get into the convenience store, I get into the parking lot, and we're switching, and Bob's behind the wheel now, and we go about 10 feet, and all of a sudden, I mean, he hits them brakes hard. And you know what? People do that. I get it on a test drive. It's brakes. You're not used to the vehicle. We go another 10 feet. Again. Oh, boy. Now I'm like, man, this is going to be a little rough, I think. And then we turn, and as hard as the guy hits the brake, he hits the gas. And we are careening towards a stoplight, and he jams on the brakes again. Boo, douche. Great. This is where I make mistake number 2. It is also a large mistake because I direct Bob back the same way we came, Interstate 235. Bob decides that he's going to get on at the rapid pace of 35 miles an hour. He's going to try and enter onto the interstate. And somehow, I am not quite sure to this day how it happened, Bob makes his way to the center lane. Now Bob's going, at this time, he's ramped it up. He's at 45 miles an hour in the middle of Interstate 235, and we've got semis just going down each side of us. And to make it worse, Bob is not holding his lane. And by that, I mean, we would drive in the center for a little bit, and then we'd drive over here a little bit, and then we drive back, and then we drive over here a little bit, and then we drive back. And I'm just sure one of these semis is going to hit us. I mean, I'm going to die here. I didn't even want to go on this test drive. This job is absolutely not worth it. It's not worth dying. It's not worth dying. And I'm going to die here. But I've got to figure out, how can I get him? What do I do? So I'm like, well, maybe what I can do is I can get him off to the edge of the road a little bit. If I get him off to the edge of the road, we can swap back. And I sit and think about that for about 1 nanosecond. And I'm like, you know what's going to happen? If I even tried that, he's going to get off to the side. He's going to fall into traffic, get hit by a car, and then he's going to die, and I'm going to lose my job there. So that's not a great idea. And finally, I do get him all the way over to the right a little bit, get him coached over, and by the grace of God, we make it back to the dealership. And, you know, I really thought I was going to die. But we're there. Hey, it's car sales. Bob, would you like to buy this vehicle? Yes, Bob would like to buy the vehicle. Okay, Bob, here's the numbers. He's like, oh, yeah, looks good. Looks good, you know. But I gotta talk to my manager. I'm like, oh, good. You know what? Bob's got somebody who's looking out for him. He's got, you know, and I'm like, oh, who's that? And it's my daughter. We'll call her Sheila. And I go, oh, do you happen to have Sheila's number? And yeah, he gets me out and he gets me Sheila's number. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, maybe I'll give her a call. You let her know, and I'll maybe follow up with her a little bit too. And it's later, and the shuttle service is closed. So, you know, Bob doesn't live really far, maybe 20 minutes from the dealership. So I'm like, you know what, Bob, why don't I give you a ride home? And I take him back home, and it's like this 3-story retirement home. There's anybody who's outside walking around's got a walker. Bob's doing great compared to a lot of people that I'm looking at. I'm like, oh man, he is in a retirement community. I get back to the dealership and I call Sheila and I leave Sheila a message. I say, hey, just want to let you know your dad was out here and he was looking at cars, etc. And day goes by, I don't hear anything. 2 days, 3 days go by, and I'm sitting at my desk and bling, bling. Oh, Sheila is on the phone. And she goes, hey, who's this? This is Ted from Carl Chevrolet. Say, I wanted to let you know your dad was out and he was looking at vehicles, and specifically the 2014 Impala. He really liked that. He took it out. We took it for a test drive. And she goes, whoa. He did what? I'm like, yeah, he was out here and we, just thinking about buying a car, and we went on a test drive. She goes, I am not happy. I am not happy at all. And I'm thinking to myself, you think you're not happy? You should have been me. Be me for once here. I'm like, well, I guess I don't understand. Sheila, what's going on? She goes, the doctor specifically told him he was not to be driving on his medication. And now I'm like, oh man, now I'm going to get fired because Sheila's going to call into the dealership and complain I did what my manager wanted me to do. And this is just turning bad. It's like the test drive that won't go away ever. And I hate Sheila. I understand. And she's barking at me hard. She's lighting me up like a Christmas tree on December 24th with an extra string of lights on there. And finally, I kind of get to stop and say, Sheila, I got it. But answer me one question. Why does Bob have a valid Iowa driver's license? And she couldn't answer. And I go, and by the way, what happened to his last vehicle? And I knew that it got totaled out. She's like, well, we can't talk about that. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm never going to contact him again. I am not, you don't have to worry about us trying to sell him a vehicle. I understand the situation completely. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. You might want to, have his driver's license taken away. I thought for sure there was going to be a phone call or I was going to get called into somebody's office and it was going to be the end of me. It was about the end of me 4 different times. And so now you can do about whatever you want on a test drive with me. I'm not gonna freak out. So that's the end of my story. Never did hear from Bob or Sheila again. Thank you. If there's anybody who's ever had a crazy test drive, tell us about it. Put the hashtag test drive. Honesty, yes. Pressure, no. Meet me at the Rock for a test drive.